Hello, good evening and welcome to Prime Business. I am Pius Kojobaka. Government is on course to save about $300 million from the debt restructuring agreement with the independent power producers. This milestone will significantly reduce the debt owed IPPs by 20% to reach $1.2 billion from the initial $1.5 billion. Now, this was disclosed by Ben Boache, a key member of the board tasked to mediate the negotiations with the IPPs. He made the announcement at the Future of Energy Conference organized by the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ASEP.
Work in progress, and we appreciate the commitment of government to engage multiple stakeholders to find solutions to the problems of the energy sector. And we've been privileged to be one of the organizations that are at the forefront of supporting the ministry to relook at the cleanup of the power sector in general. And one of the jobs has been to look at the IPPs, engage them in good faith negotiations on their outstanding debt. I mean, the commitment of government is to be able to treat the debt that we have it, then be able to structure a payment mechanism to deal with the outstanding debt. What we have done so far is to agree with a lot of the IPPs on a structure of payment, averagely 4 years to 5 years payment plan to be able to amortize the debt, and also in return get some concession from them. I must say that the IPPs have been very magnanimous. Even though we have a binding contract and agreements with them, they've been magnanimous to give us some haircut, which I'm sure the minister would announce at some point. But we are just happy to help, as we always do.
How much could a country save with this arrangement?
We're looking close to about $300 million on the debt, and also over $1 billion in future payments. But at this point, we are close to $200 million, I suppose, and I'm sure by the end of the day we will be able to give the gross figure as to what has been achieved so far.
Reacting to the development, technical advisor to the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, Dr. Yusuf Suleiman, has said if government is able to negotiate with IPPs in good faith, Ghana is going to enjoy reliable and robust power supply.
IPPs are good players within the scene, and once we negotiate with them in good faith, I think we're going to have a power supply, and that's exactly what the ministry is doing. Yeah. Largely, like what we are seeing now, I will tell you that it's not out of blue. It's as a result of aggregated policies, cogent policies that have been put in place. If you notice, early part of the year, we have shaky power supply, where we have intermittent disruptions within the power supply. The rollout of these policies, aggregated together massively, is the one that is contributing to what we are experiencing today, a bit of stability in the power supply. So yes, it's going to be a great one, and I think it's contributing hugely to having a robust power supply within the grid. And I'm sure going forward, we're going to have a lot of beautiful things coming.
The Minister of Green Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapor, has hinted of plans to initiate the export of electricity to Nigeria under a barter agreement for gas. Speaking at the Future Energy Conference, Mr. Jinapor stressed the need for regional collaborations. He explained that the leveraging the competitive advantage of member countries in the sub-region could solve the energy challenges through effective cross-border partnerships. More in this report.
The Future of Energy Conference aims to drive stakeholder collaboration towards an inclusive, sustainable energy future for Africa, providing actionable solutions and policy recommendations. Speaking to the media, Executive Director for the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ASEP, Ben Boache, called for the adoption of emerging technology to solve Africa's energy challenges.
So what we're trying to do is to engender a conversation that actually ensures that we can quickly accelerate energy access for our people, and also mindful of the transition that is happening. How do we think through the trends to make sure that Africa is not left behind? We will need to optimize emerging technologies and also be part of the technological evolution to design context-appropriate solutions to provide energy access, to our people.
Delivering his address, Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapor, hinted of plans to explore the export of electricity to Nigeria under a barter agreement for gas. He was optimistic that inter-African collaborations is crucial to solving the continent's energy challenges.
So far, we supply power to Togo, we supply power to Burkina, we supply power to Côte d'Ivoire, and we intend extending to other neighboring countries. We also supply power to Benin. And so in the spirit of that cooperation, we believe that we can work together and we take gas from Nigeria. And so what Ghana does is that we take the gas from Nigeria, we generate power and re-export. And we are in discussions with Nigeria to see if we can have a barter where we take their gas, convert it to power, and export the power to Nigeria.
Meanwhile, Rukaya El-Rufai, special advisor to the President of Nigeria on the National Economic Council and climate change, bemoaned the poor energy regulatory framework on the continent.
The political and regulatory instability from policy somersaults leads to difficulty in doing business. The poor transparency, weak enforcement, and governing institutions also affect our pricing of risks.
This year's conference was held on the theme Financing Africa's Future, Unlocking Investment for Energy Access and Economic Transformation.
Away from the energy front, the Ghana Revenue Authority is set to implement the modified tax program for SMEs from next month as it takes steps to simplify processes for small businesses and improve collections. And the move is part of measures to improve tax collections and address concerns of some medium-sized enterprises in the country. Let's bring in the Chief Executive of the Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs, Sharif Gali, for us to have this conversation. He joins us via Zoom. Sharif, thank you so much for making time to join us here on Prime Business. And we know starting from next month, GRA will be rolling out the modified tax program for SMEs as it takes steps to, simplify processes for small businesses and improve collections. Good start, you think?
The sector has been advocating for the past years, especially simplifying our tax regime to let small businesses, especially those in the informal sector, understand what their compliance are and should be able to pay tax. At least at the end of the year, you pay one component that takes care of almost everything. So it's a solid one. And for me, I expected it because it was one of the key promises that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama gave to the business community, that when they come, they will do whatever within their power to have a simplified tax framework that would serve the purposes of businesses and especially SMEs in the local environment. So it's a very good start. We are looking forward to a good implementation as we kickstart this initiative.
And I'm looking forward to your expectations as well as, the modified tax program, kicks off next month.
Yeah, so like we said, it's a whole lot of things happening within the business ecosystem. The first one is that even though we may not have been directly involved as a chamber formally, but then we have supported, especially engaging in advocating for the design and rollout of this modified taxation scheme. And for us, we see this as it's in a good direction, and it aligns with the policies direction of the government, and also connecting it to example where the Bank of Ghana had to work on the monetary policy rate that see a bit of reduction, which connects to lending power of banks being able to lend from central bank and now on lend to SMEs. So now you have SMEs being able to get financing from banks, traditional banks, and now you have the GRA coming out with a simplified tax framework, for example, given what they have put out, which for me, it's a way very good one for business community, and I think we are happy. Sometimes we tend to ask for much, and it's okay that businesses ask for much because we also want to be able to run and sustain and be able to scale businesses so we can help government create a job. So it is a component that for me we are looking up to a successful implementation. I would want to see that if not by the end of this year, by mid-year we are firm out with the framework and businesses know that I'm paying this tax for my business, and that is the only tax requirement or compliance I need to. And so I wouldn't be bedeviled by the fact that I need to look for an expert to come and calculate my tax, to come and put together all the tax compliance I need. And that alone, businesses, brother, used to pay a lot of money for technical persons to do this for them. And so for me, it's taking a lot of burden, a lot of areas where businesses even lose money in getting people to help them with their taxation. And the expectation is that we really implement this. It shouldn't just be on a paper. And so the private sector will benefit. So together with the good work you are doing from the media, we as trade associations will follow through to ensure that we have some of these things that are mentioned. They look very promising, but we want to see them practicalized on paper, and we would definitely follow.
Great. But prior to this rollout, you've had concerns with the tax system, especially within the SME space. How confident are you that, well, with this very modified tax program again, soon to be rolled out, will address these issues you have?
So, if you look at what they put up, you see the tax framework, which is, for example, ranging from fixed quarterly installment of about 25 cedis to 45 for smaller earners, and a flat 3% turnover for businesses earning between 20 to 500,000, where my members, what I mean my members, I'm talking about young entrepreneurs across Ghana, this is where they fall. And so if you have a flat rate of 3% turnover for such businesses, it makes their tax compliance easy for them, and it's something they can definitely comply. Gone are the days where you have to go and pay corporate income tax, you have to pay all the other taxes that based on the sector of businesses you belong to, and then it was a big issue for business. And I can boldly tell you that based on research we have done over the years, the reason most of the young people don't even go to GRA to register was that, one, they don't understand the tax compliance and nobody is willing to explain to them, and two, even those who understand are not even able to comply because of the hidden charges and so many other things that you have to go to. So for me, this is what we have been calling for. And like I said, it is one thing calling for it, one thing announcing it as government, and the big thing about implementing it. So let us put hands on the wheel to implement this right. And definitely we would come back to you and let you know how our members are seeing it. If it is good, we will let you know. If it is not, we will still get back to you. And for me, 3% turnover tax for businesses, especially those who their revenues between 20 to 500,000 is amazing, because I know the big giant may have issues, but I'm telling you, this is good for my young entrepreneurs. And remember, GRA says the target are the small businesses. And so it is a good thing for us. And if I say this is not what we call for, I will be a liar as an advocate. This is what we look out for. However, let's get it implemented. Let's get it done right so that the real businesses would benefit from it.
Chief Executive of the Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs, Sheriff Gali, thank you so much for making time to speak to us here on Prime Business. Let's shift focus to some other stories. The Ministry of Food and Agriculture has announced its support for Qatari manufacturing firm Al Jadad Holdings Limited in partnership with Glofet to establish a fertilizer production factory here in Ghana. More in this report.
The yet-to-be-built factory by Qatari manufacturing firm Al Jadad Holdings Limited in partnership with Glofet is expected to focus on fertilizer and crop-related production. This is part of efforts to strengthen the agricultural value chain and reduce Ghana's reliance on imports. Minister of Food and Agriculture Eric Opoku noted that the initiative will help address the volatility of the exchange rate in a sustainable manner. He emphasized that beyond creating a ready local market for fertilizer use, the project will also position Ghana to export fertilizer to other countries across the sub-region.
Over the years, we have been importing fertilizer from outside Ghana. I know recently we had a lot of challenges with our exchange rate because of the huge import bill. We import a lot. And so the president has directed that we focus on production of some of the things that we can do here in Ghana. It is only through that we can sustainably work on the volatility of the exchange rate. And so this is one of the areas that we are looking at. So this government is ever ready to support you to ensure that this factory is established here in Ghana. And we are giving you our word. If you have the factory here producing the fertilizer, what is the sense in going outside to import the fertilizer to come and support our business here? And so once you start production here, you have the market already. And the Ministry of Food and Agriculture is ever prepared to work with you.
Local partner of Al Jadad Holdings Limited and founder of Granum Agro Limited, Foster Mauli Benson, expressed excitement about the partnership, revealing that funding has already been secured. He added that the venture will serve as a catalyst for the growth of other related industries while boosting Ghana's economy.
I know in the past Ghana has been pursuing this opportunity to manufacture fertilizers. So basically what we're going to produce in Ghana at the petroleum hub at Etwabo is urea and ammonia, and this obviously is going to generate over 2,000 direct employments for the Ghanaian and the Ghanaian youth. Apart from that, there are other value chain industries that are going to spring up. Funding has already been secured. We are not going in to look for funding. Funding is secured. Totally, they are investing $5 billion, and that covers other areas like the food park. One of the highlights of this meeting is the announcement from our chairman that the Qatarian government is interested in investing heavily in food production in Ghana for export to Qatar.
Construction of the factory is scheduled to commence in October 2025 with an estimated completion timeline of 32 months.
Still within the cocoa value chain, the Asetenapa Cooperative Cocoa Farming and Marketing Union Limited has held its 6th annual general meeting at Nankese in the Eastern region under the theme From Dreams to Reality, Protecting What Matters. President of the union, Mark Ayivo, reminded members of their duty to protect their values, unity, environment, and livelihoods that sustain families. Here's a report.
The gathering at Nankese brought together over 60 cocoa farmers and stakeholders in the cocoa value chain. Union President Mark Ayivo emphasized that protecting values, unity, the environment and livelihood is critical to safeguarding the future of the cooperative.
Cocoa Board should expect and our foreign partners that Asetenapa will be in a good position ourselves to get more cocoa beans for export.
Data and Traceability Officer at Tony's Open Chain, Winston Woche, highlighted the need for transparent practices that link farmers directly to consumers.
Our focus has been to foster a great relationship so that farmers, their families, very important, their families get the best out of life that we can help them attain. In the future, we are looking towards growth on both sides, and growth on Asetenapa's end is adding more farmers to the cooperative.
Director of the Cocoa Health and Extension Division at Nankese, Kennedy Contour, pledged Cocoa Board's continued support to ensure sustainable production and farmer welfare.
To be very honest with you, our methodology for pricing hasn't changed over the years. Some way, somehow, I'm sure the farmers have some messages and probably they could not properly appreciate it well. But the focus is that the pricing, the modus or the method for pricing over the years still remains the same. There's a committee called Cocoa Price Review Committee. They have been in charge of pricing over the years.
The 6th annual general meeting marks another milestone in Asetenapa's journey from a dream to a growing reality empowering farmers and their communities.
Professional services and auditing firm KPMG Ghana is raising funds to support the pediatric unit of oncology department at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Now, the corporate social responsibility move by both present and past workers of the firm is aimed at easing the burden of children undergoing skin cancer at the hospital. Here's more.
As part of the awareness creation to raise funds, KPMG held a walk with the alumni and used the occasion to highlight the importance of the Corporate Social Responsibility Project, which seeks to support the oncology unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital Children's Department. Audrey Mains is secretary to the KPMG alumni.
This year we decided that we wanted to have some purpose to our walk, and we decided that we would like to raise funds for a worthy cause. and purposed to raise some money for the pediatric oncology department of Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Now, what we're raising funds for is something called the venipuncture unit, and that is to enable the children receiving treatment to do so painlessly.
Head of Corporate Affairs at KPMG Ghana, Joycelyn Coleman, underscored the need for the focus on health and education as a CSR initiative.
Looking at raising up to 200,000 Ghana cedis and even more, because we've heard by popular request that people want us to extend the date beyond today, so we'll probably take it into the first week of September. What we're looking at is the venipuncture, pain-free venipuncture unit, is that all these children with cancer, as it is, when they have to get their infusion for chemo treatment and all that. After a while, it becomes very, very painful, and then the veins disappear. So the venipuncture unit is a new technology where it's supposed to reduce, in fact, probably eliminate the pain, because I've personally gone through that process where you see babies being punctured over and over because their veins have disappeared, and because their pain has been heightened. It's very, very traumatic to watch.
Country managing partner for KPMG, Andy Akuto, expressed confidence that the alumni project will make huge impact for the hospital.
As the oldest and largest professional accounting services firm in Ghana, KPMG prides itself of having more or less impacted the growth of the profession in Ghana. And we see this morning's event as a further demonstration of the impact that we continue to make, not only in the interest of our alumni and stakeholders, but also for the general communities in which we serve.
KPMG also used the event to donate some blood to support the National Blood Transfusion Service of Ghana.
And to some other stories, large-scale development projects like dams, highways, mining, and energy infrastructure often trigger forced land acquisition and displacement, leaving settlers discontent. The Akosombo Dam construction, for instance, forced more than 80,000 people out of ancestral settlements with their livelihoods broken, making the pursuit for national big infrastructure more problematic. Now, against this backdrop, KNUST, GIMPA, and the World Bank have introduced a new professional training program promising tools to prevent land mismanagement and resettlement setbacks. More in this report.
National infrastructure projects and environmental disasters often disrupt settlements due to weak legal and structural frameworks, poor planning, and inadequate compensation. This has historically left many communities displaced with deepening poverty and conflicts, creating long-term social and environmental harm. The Regional Transport Research and Education Center, Kumasi, of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, in partnership with the World Bank, have launched a professional certificate course on environmental and social risk management, land acquisition, and involuntary resettlement. Provost of the KNUST College of Engineering, Professor Kwabna Brechum Nyako, said it has become necessary to equip land and governance practitioners with practical skills to reduce the unintended consequences of acquisition and resettlement.
Land acquisition. And this is not peculiar to only Ghana, in most of the African countries. For example, on the development of large-scale projects like dams, there are times that you have to carry out involuntary resettlement. In Ghana, if you look at the development of Akosombo Dam, if you look at the Bui Dam, and others. So this course is to equip those who work in the land space to be able to manage the process effectively, efficiently, and to reduce the unintended consequences. Use the knowledge acquired to improve the land management process. Yes. And this looks at both the legal aspect, the social, as well as the environmental aspects. And the social includes the relocation, resettlement. We have to make sure that the development does not affect livelihoods adversely.
The professional training will equip participants with skills for adequate consultation, compensation, and livelihood restoration. Environmental project specialist at the World Bank, Dr. Emmanuel Ayan Abeka, indicated that the initiative ties into the bank's wider mission to ensure sustainable development.
The bank is interested in sustainable development. When you look at the objectives or our mission and vision statement, is clearly stated there, poverty reduction, shared growth, and on a livable planet. And a livable planet means a sustainable planet. And you will agree with me that land social issues, issues of inclusivity, are linked with sustainability. So we at the bank, in line with our commitment to sustainability, supported what we call the Ghana Environmental and Social Frameworks Overview Assessment. And in that assessment that the bank commissioned, one of the findings and recommendations was that capacity needed to be built. Capacity, legislative reforms, etc. were needed within the Ghana land, social and environmental management space.
For Joy News, my name is Clinton Yeboah.
Thanks so much for watching Prime Business. I am Pius Kojo Baka. Daniel Cranton is next with sports.